TIFU by pointing out that my boss is obviously using ChatGPT. I, 27M, am a creative director at a marketing agency. My boss, 32M, I'll call him Vince, is the co-owner of our company. English isn't our native language where we live and work, and Vince has always been a bit insecure with his communication skills. For additional context, I have a strong background in copywriting and copy editing, so I know I sometimes make Vince feel even more self-conscious whenever we need to communicate in English. Despite this, Vince and I have a pretty friendly relationship for a boss and employee. We only have a 5-year age gap, and we'll joke around about personal stuff sometimes. Like when I tease him for sleeping on the couch after working late and irritating his wife. Or when he gives me a hard time whenever I pick terrible gifts for my GF. It's all in good fun. We've even hung out outside of work. Vince scored some courtside tickets to a basketball game last year and invited me along. So all this to say, we're friendly but still maintain professionalism. However, last month, Vince has obviously started using AI to write things like birthday messages, work anniversary greetings, congratulatory notes when someone lands a new client, etc. On our company Slack, I noticed the change immediately. He used to just write quick 5-word greetings, but suddenly they were these 10-sentence formal messages using words and phrases Vince would never actually use. Last Monday, we had a working lunch at my office to discuss the deck I had just completed for an upcoming client meeting. Then, as we were wrapping up, Vince asked me casually if I'd noticed him putting in more effort with his messages lately. And like an idiot, instead of just agreeing politely, I made some joke and said, "Oh yeah, looks like ChatGPT has been doing some heavy lifting lately." Quote, Vince immediately got defensive and started ranting about how dare I call him out. There's nothing wrong with using ChatGPT for work stuff. It's efficient and helps him communicate better in English. Blah blah blah. I tried to backtrack and say I didn't mean any offense. I agree there's nothing wrong with using ChatGPT in moderation. I was just trying to give some friendly feedback that maybe he could use better prompts and customize the output a bit to sound more natural coming from him. But at that point, Vince was too pissed off, called me an asshole, the equivalent in our native language, and stormed off. Of course, I didn't want the incident to damage our relationship long term. Vince had been an amazing mentor and friend to me. I'd hate for some dumb joke to ruin the mutual respect we have for each other. So, later that day, I just came to Vince's office and apologized. He simply smiled and said it was fine. However, the entire week, he had been giving me the cold shoulder. We only interacted when discussing work. I tried making jokes about other stuff, but he's not acknowledging them. Also, since then, he has gone back to his usual 5-word greetings. I fear that I might have just ruined the healthy work environment over that stupid joke. TLDR. I told my boss, who's insecure about his English communication, that he's been obviously using ChatGPT lately. He got upset and storms off, calling me an asshole. I apologized, but he has been giving me the cold shoulder ever since. Maybe run your apology through ChatGPT and email it to him. You just made me realize why one of my coworkers' messages suddenly was super formal and long, instead of broken half-correct grammar. Never outshine the master op. Sounds like your work environment wasn't healthy. You just hadn't accidentally bruised his ego yet. Personal insecurities have no place in the office. Like you said, nothing wrong with ChatGPT in moderation. But before he started using it, his messages may have been broken English, but they were genuine from him. Same concept as everyone loves a live customer service agent, but nobody likes talking to a robot. Maybe phrase it in some way like that. Frankly, ChatGPT is an inappropriate tool to use for communications, and can be both risky and problematic for personnel to lean on. You didn't F up. He F'd up by trying to take credit for an improvement that wasn't actually there. If he used it to improve his communication with a language barrier, that's fine, but at least acknowledge where the improvement came from. The fact he got so defensive about it just shows that he had every intention of taking the credit for the improvement like it was actually his improvement. And the time will come where he will be in a position, with clients, partners, etc., where he won't be able to access it, and it will further expose him for taking credit for someone else's work. Your boss is never your friend, and this post is exactly why. Your boss sounds very childish. One of the many reasons to not become friends with your boss, unfortunately. It's not your fault he's insecure. Just be supportive. This is his problem, not yours. Boss should have been using ChatGPT. But let's give that one a free pass due to circumstances. What he definitely should be doing is trying to pass it off as his own work. And then he really should be offended that someone he knows and trusts accidentally pointed out that all his communications sound like AI now. Looks like you made a light-hearted joke that the boss could have used to dodge a big bullet later. But he instead decided to be, well, management. This reminds me of my toddler who will have me do 95% of a task and then ask for praise for doing it all by herself. Since she's 3, I give it to her. I'll remember to stop and demand more effort before she's 30 so she doesn't end up with a fragile ego like baby boss Vince over here. Lol, there's real friends and there's coworkers or work friends that you don't just throw out dumb jokes to. The small chance that it gets taken wrongly and screw with your job is not worth it. My least competent boss would not have understood how to use ChatGPT. So she took the easier route and plagiarized everything. Borrowed paragraphs did not match on time sequence. Singular, plural, subject or object. She outed herself in a meeting she called. Boss was then on a path out the door. Make an effort to let him know his use of ChatGPT was cool and that you think he should use it if he wants. Give him some constructive suggestions and let him know that it did come across as professional. Almost had me. This entire post was written by ChatGPT. He's embarrassed. Pretend everything is normal and never mention it again. Vince sounds like someone who is a boss BC he set up a company. Not because he is a good boss. How immature to give a member of staff the cold shoulder. That is a serious level of bad management. He is the one who should be fired for being a child doing an adult's job. Vince seems overly sensitive. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said even if he's insecure with his communication skills. A good person would acknowledge he's using it to help his English instead of getting mad at the person pointing it out. Hopefully he decides to be the bigger person and let this go. He should apologize to you for getting upset. It's ridiculous. He's insecure and inadequate. Take his job and his life, his wife and his kids. Tell him these things are yours now and do not trouble himself with work anymore as his services are no longer needed. I bid you good day. Vince.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.